Hi everybody, Jim Winblood here today on Foundry TV. Today we're doing another edition of the Foundry Spotlight where we bring a Foundry member to you and we have a little conversation, just a short one, a brief punchy one, but a fun one hopefully, and one that adds a lot of value. So today I have Allan Restrepo here. Thank you for coming, Allan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Allan Restrepo and his company is YOUniversal Ideas. And so just wanted to, let's just get into it. Allan,
Okay.
You've been with the Foundry for a long time now, a couple years.
Almost 4.5 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you were actually here before Barry and I got involved.
Correct. Oh, that's correct.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and then stayed with us as we transitioned into the new era, which is the Foundry era.
Correct.
And so we really appreciate that and have loved, coming alongside you and watching your great work and having a great relationship with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And so why don't you just, for a few moments, share your story with our audience. Tell us a little bit about you and your company and how it all came to be.
Sure. Well, YOUniversal Ideas, as you may know, is a mobile application software developer. And we started about 4.5 years, just before we got to this office. I came from a digital services background. I created websites and flash games for large brands for years. So all in all, I've been in the digital services business about 15 years in one capacity or another. I broke away to create YOUniversal Ideas to focus primarily on mobile application development. And this is really at the beginning of the entry to smartphones and applications for smartphones.
Right.
So we kind of caught that ride and have been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
So that's our primary focus, although we can do other types of services. We only solicit for mobile application development.
Yeah. Great, great. And so tell us a little bit. We want to learn from you and from your experience today. And so that's a big part of what the Foundry Spotlight is to sort of get inside your head and your experience and find out what makes you tick and what can help us, each one of us, learn. So my question for you, and this is a question I pose to everybody who comes into the Foundry Spotlight is, what's the one thing you would share with an aspiring entrepreneur? The one thing, if you had to boil it all down, I know there's a lot. Right?
Yes.
But if you had one thing you could share with an aspiring entrepreneur, what would that be?
That's a good question, and I think most entrepreneurs will relate to my answer in one form or another. But for me, the one thing I would say is for every entrepreneur, there's got to be a requirement for passion. You have to have passion in what you do, and I think with that, and a little bit of flexibility, as well as curiosity, and the ability to take on change, I think those are key components to being a successful entrepreneur. And like I said, I don't think I'm shedding any light to folks who are already doing the entrepreneurial thing. That's pretty common. But for me, I know this is my primary motivation, is that I want to be able to do work that I care about.
That's right.
And that's the key for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I get that. I'm reading a book right now. Simon Sinek is the author. Start with Why.
Start with Why.
It's a great one, but it gets to the point you're making, which is, there's bajillion businesses out there, and they can all tell you what they do, and some of them can tell you how they do it, but very few can tell you why they do it. Yeah. And to me, that's what you're speaking to, is this thing inside of us that drives you forward. It's the why that causes you to go forward with such passion and energy, and then really attract people to that.
Yes.
So,
well, I will say that even entrepreneurs as a whole, to me, represent really the idea of America itself. I'm an immigrant son. I'm first-generation American, and my father came to this country for one reason, and that was opportunity. And he pursued that opportunity for his entire adult life, and he passed that on to me. And so for me, entrepreneurship really just fits into the whole idea of what America can be and, in my opinion, should be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So another thing we want to learn from you, can you share something with us that is a difficulty that you're dealing with right now in your current where you are today. Give us an idea of a difficulty you're dealing with and
Sure.
what you're doing to try to solve the problem.
Sure. Well, I kind of referenced change earlier, and one of the things that entrepreneurs need to be able to handle, and I think in a way that's primarily my main struggle, and that would be in the sense that in my industry it's so new and it's ever changing, and that creates opportunity, one, but also some challenges. You have to have the flexibility to be able to move in the direction that the rest of the market's moving. In addition, with any technology, and this follows suit not just for mobile application development, but for virtually any kind of development, with time, our services become more and more commoditized, and so that drives prices down for our services.
Right.
So you always have to be able to manage working for less and less as time goes on.
Right.
And then that, of course, inspires change, because once you get to working for so little, you have to do something else in order to make ends meet.
Right,
So
right.
that's when you change. So change is forced upon you, and that's always going to be a challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Allan, thank you so much for sharing a
Sure.
little bit of your experience.
Sure.
And your passion definitely comes through. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you spending some time with us on the Spotlight.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you for attending today. As usual, hope you got something out of this brief segment with Allan Restrepo from YOUniversal Ideas. Thanks again from Foundry TV. We'll see you soon.